I've done the rear sway bar 2 weeks ago, did an autocross. I will tell you the results for the rear sway bar was quite remarkable. I had a fantastic opportunity to adjust during lunchtime, midday. I went from almost full stiff to completely soft with fantastic results. It was very easy to install. I will tell you that the front is quite intimidating. However, I'm going to take my time and do a little video watching, of course, for the older 987s and see how much of that translates to doing it on the 718. So this is a GT3 3-position bar with adjustable drop links. I will tell you what I learned from the rear. You cannot use the factory drop links. The factory drop links are 7.5 or 7 7/8, excuse me, long for the factory drop links, and the measurement that I got from adjusting on the Tarett drop links was 9.5 inches. And I know I had my length adjusted properly for zero preload on those drop links, because when I changed them out at lunchtime at the Autocross, I was able to easily pull that drop link out once I removed the nut, of course, and reposition it to the next hole without any binding force on that bolt. So I know I had them properly adjusted, and I will do the same here. I will tell you one thing as well, the boxes here to my lower right, I've done will do a modification with some furring strips to keep the car from rolling off the boxes when I take all the weight off. That was a scary situation that should have been avoided. However, with the design, you do improvements. So I will show you that improved design when we go to adjust these drop links. So I'm going to get this panel down and start taking some the simple stuff off, and I will show you what it looks like once we're ready to remove the bar. Okay, number one safety tip, working underneath any vehicle or anything you're working on, of course, eye protection. When I drop that front body panel, a truck ton of old rubber, track rubber, sand, grit, dust, about an entire dustpan full out of the car. What I do want to show you guys is a very important tip when tracking. So for those of you who have never tracked, and those of you who have, understand these little small bits of rubber. So they actually get lodged, they get thrown here from your front tires and hook on these vents from the fan. I don't know if you can see the fan up there, but you have a cooling fan there behind the radiator. And these have actually stopped the fan from rotating when I've pulled into the pits and reached my hand in here to clear these bits of rubber. And they get quite large, as you can see, and they will effectively stop your radiator fans from turning when you pull into the pits, and thusly why a cool down lap is so essential. So, safety tip. Okay guys, show you where we're at. Got the body panels removed. I found my sizes, and I'm starting with the gas tank support structure. I will tell you that I was almost shocked on how little of torque that were on these, right? They do have a 7mm backup wrench lugged to them, if you will, here. And I did put a socket on there just to be certain, because these goes up into the frame here. These studs go up into the frame. So I did not want to have these studs turn on me while I was breaking the torque on these. I was using a 1/2-inch breaker bar just for ease, just to be gentle, and the torque broke very, very easily, as well as these up inside here, and these forward ones. Very, very little torque. I don't have those finger tight loose yet, but so what I wanted to show you was this little electrical box. I'm going to leave it connected to the support brace here, and this electrical connector will literally just squeeze and it'll open up its jaws, and you can pop it right off and leave that hang there. So that's where they're at. Now, these straps, I'll have to figure out how to pull these straps off because they are connected. You can't see it, I apologize, in the shadow up there, to this support brace here. Oops, sorry, right here. So when I pull this down, I'll hopefully be able to talk you through that. Okay, pro tip, I'll tell on myself. Disconnect your factory drop links first. So I had a small, almost panic attack because you'll see how long that factory drop link is, and then you see this little shorty. I about had a panic attack when I realized that the new bar will be up here, and the replacement Tarett will be just fine. So we're to the point. I have most all the hardware off, except for the big boys. I will say that these have a triple square, but there's so much torque on those that I highly recommend using the outside diameter 18mm socket. That will greatly improve your chances of not stripping out those triple squares on the inside. Okay, moment of truth. So I have the subframe all unbolted, disconnected. I will say the bolt pattern that came out are different, and they're different on each side. So I laid them out on the floor from outside to inside, how they're gonna go back in, because this is gonna go much more quickly than I anticipated. So my big, I guess, intimidating portion of this, I'm trying to get up here, no removing of any ball joints. This bar is gonna come out looking, we are forward of the car, looking aft. So I have the brackets for the sway bar off. There's the rubber. And you can move it around easily. So Blair Witch Project here. I will say, there's the link removed. So in the 718, come to find out, the inner lower control arm is attached to the subframe. So this subframe is just hanging from these lower control arms. There's no need to support the subframe. All the bolts are removed. It's fantastic. So I will say, getting this little piece of plastic in my little Cool Daddy GT3 RS aero kit was kind of a booger lying underneath the car, and having the subframe supported with my foot, taking the pressure off to get this piece of plastic around there. So getting it back in, I'm certain will be a treat. But I will tell you, wow, this is gonna be much, I say it now, much easier than I thought it was gonna be. So with a little bit of finagling and maneuvering around, let's see it come out. Okay, so there is the old front sway bar on the ground. It literally only took 2 or 3 minutes of finagling to get up over the caster arm and the lower control arm over there. It really was not difficult at all. Just a little bit of finagling. I was committed to cutting it in pieces if I needed to, but again, no ball joints. Such fantastic. This also is an opportunity for me to inspect all of my current joints. The left front over here, as the right, as we're looking rear, is a little loose on the lower control arm over there, but this guy is hanging in there. Now, I am interested in removing these and replacing these with spherical bearing, fully adjustable caster arms eventually. So really no need. I have 56,000 miles on the car. They're in great shape, lots of autocross, lots of track time, still hanging in there. Okay, here we go. Comparison from old being in the front and the new being in the rear. So the new one is the GT3 OEM bar. It's 31 millimeters. The old bar coming out, which again is in the front, is a 28 millimeter single fixed point. What we get with the GT3 is 3 adjustable positions, and that's what we're truly after. Having that tunability. Like, I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos, but I discussed about oversteer, running the 18-inch track wheels versus 20-inch. So I'm hoping to be able to dial that out with the new rear sway bar and the front new sway bar. Again, the rear made a very large impact. I'm very encouraged and excited to try the new bar at the next Autocross coming up this weekend. So trying to get this done today. This has literally only been maybe 2 hours out here in the garage, and I'm taking my time. So I will say though, the new drop links are noticeably more noisy. The factory rubber drop links are nice and quiet. So I don't want to say buyer beware, but if you're doing this, you're after performance, not a quiet, comfortable ride. So I encourage this. Okay, here are the drop links, the little shorties. So those of you who have opted for the rubber booties, I will tell you they come uninstalled here in a baggie separate. I have done the one side of them already here installed. So I wanted to go through the process for you. Be very, very careful not to damage your booty. It goes without saying. So if you notice, as I pull out the bolt, one of the bushings or spacers is captive inside of your bearing here. So you wonder, how in the world am I gonna get this guy over top of that? Well, it's really not that difficult. We just go from the other side, the side without the bushing. So again, insert into the bearing hole, go down through the threaded lollipop, if you will. Now here's the magic. We've got to get this little tiny hole over top of our bearing here, right? And then it'll easily go over top of our spacer. So we grab our guy here and gently but firmly pull the rubber from one side, working over top of the bearing. This is, got to have a really good grip on this guy. You don't want to tear it. Now the rear side, I used a Phillips screwdriver, but these ones are actually a little larger and go a little easier than the rears. So as I continuously work over the outside diameter or radius of this guy, it's just coming on nicely. Just taking my time, trying not to rush it, because if you compromise your booty, you're done. So again, in previous videos, I discussed about contamination inside, getting inside of the spherical bearing here. You do not want to compromise that with any grease, oil, contaminants, because it will start grinding in the material that's on the outside diameter of this. Ooh, that's very stiff. Lollipop, for lack of better terms. So keeping this clean and dry is imperative, and that's why I opted for the booties. The booties will help keep longevity. So also what I wanted to discuss was getting your, especially on the fronts. The fronts are the only ones from Tarett that have this little sleeve that go into the inner diameter of that bearing. So as we get it pushed across, what we want to do is make certain that our sleeve goes down inside the bearing, and we get this rubber booty out from around it and on this little chamfered edge. So So as I pull that over, pull the booty over, don't want to pull it too far and then get on the bolt. So now I know I have, if you heard that click, that was a positive click. Now I know I have full engagement from the bolt going in. Both sleeves are in the center here, if you will, on that diameter, and the bolt will be able to torque it down. I won't be torquing rubber, but I'll be metal on metal, torquing metal. And basically repeat it for the other side. Rinse and repeat. We'll have all 4 done and get ready to install our new sway bar and our new end links. Okay, we got the new front sway bar in. It truly could not have been any easier with the design of the GT3 bar. It literally went straight in. Of course, removing the old bar, pulling it forward out of the frame, subframe, and then the new bar, putting it, installing it aft, if you will, pushing it towards the back of the car. What I really want to discuss, of course, is torquing down your brackets here, right? So good mechanical, if you will, maintenance practices. You don't want to torque one side down all the way till it touches and then crank down on the other side until it touches. You want to torque these down in steps, or tighten them in steps until you get ready to torque. And that way it allows you to maneuver the bar every so often if you need to ensure your stop, your left and right stop, stays outside the rubber. And again, with any sort of grease or lubricant application, you can see a little bit of grease sticking out down there. I will wipe that up after this video to ensure it does not collect undue rocks, gravel, again, rubber from the track. I'm not giving any torques during this video, purely based upon some semblance of not being liable. So look up the torque specs on your own, and here we go. Okay, subframe is back in and torqued down. So what I did was I did a little magic marker torque seal, and I did torque those down in a cross pattern, and I brought it down again, taking it in increments. It was imperative. I will tell you, please do not start torquing or wrenching on one of these bolts until you are absolutely certain that you have thread engagement and you are finger tight. And I will tell you, I used a gentle persuasion tool to help realign the subframe to get the whole bolt holes to line up. It really was not very difficult, but the big pry bar very gently in and around a couple of spots to get these bolt holes to line up was necessary. And believe it or not, the most difficult part of the whole thing was getting these stinking plastic inserts, if you will, clips, to line back up as you are torquing the subframe in. And I do have my gloves on because I did cut myself traditionally, so I didn't want to give anyone squeamish to blood a direct view. Again, some torque seal. My plan is to drive around this week an hour or so a night because Autocross is on Saturday, and I will recheck all the torque values after 30, hopefully 40 miles of driving, and validate my torque striping has worked. So on with the gas tank support. Now, this little guy here is just a cover or shield for the gas tank itself, and it has 2 little arms over here that go on these coolant pipes, and it will just hang there. It'll want to come out as you deal with this subframe. But I tell you guys, it was intimidating to watch some 987 videos, but the 718, I'm telling you, is, I don't want to say easy, I'm not done yet, but it's doable, I will call it that way. And on the donkey scale, this is maybe 2 donkeys, 2 ass pains at all. And truly it was nothing more than those plastic clips for that coolant line. Everything else is very straightforward. I did use blue Loctite on these bolts just for a bit of security. And also I forgot to mention, when I was torquing the bolts here for the sway bar support brackets itself, there are nuts on the other side. Standard practice, you always torque the nut side. You never want to torque the bolt side. It's a false torque value. So I did add just a little sugar and validated it on the nut side with my backup wrench. So be forewarned. Okay, extremely important safety tip here. I was installing my upper sway bar link, here, drop link, and I noticed new shiny metal on my strut here off of my upright. And I thought, well, that's odd, that should not be that way. So confirmed, lowered the car, and as I jack up my hub, you can see that gap went away. I saved myself, luckily, from a catastrophic failure. So please pay attention to that and note any movement at all. I would suggest as a safety device then would be to clean that strut right here on the front end and put a piece of tape on the strut so you know where you started from. Lessons learned, discovery learning. Don't be me. Okay, we're on the boxes again underneath the car, making our drop link adjustments. As you can tell, I have the new sway bar installed. I am in the softest hole, and my up and vertical, if you will, up and down, is adjusted such that I can move my bolt in and out without any restrictions at all, which means I have my vertical adjustment proper. And I'm going to install the nut here, tighten my jam nuts, raise the car, kick the boxes out, go for a drive and see what happens. Okay, so here she is, down on the ground, ready to roll. My concerns about the front struts are alleviated by measuring from the ground to the fender on each side. We are equal. We're back to the original measurements that I had initially. I did check the back out of fears that I negated to check that or see that the actual strut moved out of the hub or the upright assembly. And in fact, there are two pinch bolts back there. So it was not a concern, it did not move. Only in the front, again, extreme word of caution to ensure that your strut, when replacing the upper sway arm drop link bolt, you ensure that you push the hub back into the strut assembly, or strut assembly down into the strut. From what I used was I lowered the car and used a floor jack and made sure to put a bit of tension on the spring and make sure it was fully seated, and then retorqued it. So gonna have a bite of lunch, gonna go for a test drive and put it back up and see if anything had moved. Prior to this weekend, I will certainly have all four wheels off, verify drop link torques on all connections and all jam nuts. The terrible thing would be to have one of those come loose. Hopefully would not be a catastrophic event. So there we go. Let's go for a test drive.
Okay, you're in sport mode.
Yes, sir. Sport Plus.
Sport Plus, okay.
We have our little wing up.
Yep.
So we're 27 PSI on the front, 26 in the back. We'll see how that does.
You running factory tires?
No, these are the Continental Extreme Force.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do some brake warming up on the way. I have the Paget RS29
put the. He just, in fact, he did the pads, and now he just had to do new rotors, so wore out his rotors.
61.014 plus 1 cone at 61.014 plus 1 for Willow. Oh, and Michael Valent in the Civic did set a new top time at 52.2. In the gray Toyota LR2, Frederick Scholes just turned in 54.429 and 54.429. That's a clean run for Frederick.
All right, this is the first run. I have the adjustable front sway bar on the front.
Oh, wow.
I have adjustable front sway bar in the rear.
Okay,
This is the very first run. We'll see how this goes.
yeah.
All right, you can go.
All right, here we go, Scott. The grip is pretty good. It's going where I want it to. Oh, look at that turn in. Wow! Fantastic. Too deep. I got too greedy. Got backside this guy. Stay off me here. Backside this next one. Wow. The fronts are really pushing. Really overdriving it now. Wow, yeah, that's different in speed. I had a plan at the walkthrough. Wow.
This is definitely more G's than what my car will do. Mine slips a lot more in this. You're really sticking with those rubbers. 55, that's pretty good.
It could be better.
Oh, you'll knock 2-3 seconds off of it.
Yeah, clean run, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're handling it good too. You can tell you don't know exactly what your limits are in the car right now.
Right, yeah, I know.
But these tires stick. I can tell that.
Oh yeah, they're not bad. I mean, for an endurance track tire, I mean it's fairly competitive with the best autocross tires out there.